Yeah.
Okay, so I'm here today with Claire, the manager from the Westway Centre. Many of you will know the Westway Centre is based in Caterham on the Hill, and they do an awful lot to help the community and have been for the past year, more so with more recently, also with the COVID vaccinations as well. But I'm here to talk to Claire about the welfare fund, the hardship fund that the Westway are offering to local residents within the community. So Claire, can you tell me a little bit more about the welfare fund and why was it started up, and what's the idea behind it?
Okay, so yeah, the welfare fund started during lockdown 1, when it became very apparent very quickly that people who were normally fine, you know, they were working, self-employed maybe or whatever, that actually the pandemic was having consequences. So very early on, I had a chat with a lady who we were sorting out a food parcel for, and she said, "I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm accepting food from you. I'm really embarrassed." And what had happened was she'd been self-employed, everything had been fine, COVID had hit. Some of her customers were starting to get anxious about having someone coming into her home, and then the schools shut and she had her children at home, so she became unreliable. So within a matter of 2 or 3 months, she'd gone from being stable, self-employed, to being struggling just to buy food. And she said, you know, you may look at me and think I've got this lovely car, phone, but the car's leased and the phone's on a contract, so I'm still paying all those expenses, but I can't work. And so what we wanted to do was to create a fund, and by this point people had been donating small amounts of money, sort of £10 here, £15 or whatever. We just wanted to be able to have a fund that was easy to access, was very much the community giving to their neighbours, because I think everybody has realised that you're just kind of one step away from this yourself.
Yeah.
So the fund, you know, the fund's meant to be light touch, really easy to access. We don't have huge amounts of money, but sometimes, you know, the maximum grant, which is £200, so you, as I say, you know, it wouldn't pay your rent. Sometimes just knowing that other people care a bit about you and the situation you're in really helps. And what we also realised was that by signposting people, when we actually made contact with them, often meant the money went a lot further. So it meant we were able to signpost people for benefits that they never knew they were entitled to, grants to help people with recovery for their small businesses. Again, they weren't aware they were out there. And so it's when sort of COVID didn't go away, I think we were really optimistic. We thought, oh, by Christmas,
yes,
it'll be gone. I think then we realised it was really important to keep it going. So even though the grants are actually quite small, if you need some data, for example, for your phone, or, you know, we've bought baby kit, medication cards, so that people don't have to pay them prescription fees for 6 months or whatever. You know, by being able to do those sorts of things, it's helped people just solve 1 or 2 of their problems, their immediate problems, and perhaps give them just a little bit of breathing space and a chance to think about the bigger worries, really. So yeah, and people have been phenomenally generous over time, and it has been, as I say, almost all just very small donations, neighbour to neighbour. We've managed to give out, so I think it's about 30 odd grants. The average amount is about £120. I was looking at the list actually before, because I knew we were going to have this chat. Oh, hang on.
Lunch.
Yes, sorry.
All right, fine, absolutely fine. Well, you're there at work, you're working, so it's fine.
No, that's okay. No, so what I was going to say was that I grabbed off the list to see the sorts of things that we've helped with. So I'm going to look over here. I've just got my,
yes, that's absolutely
list. So food's the obvious one, but not only has it been actually putting money into someone's bank account so that they can pay it. As I say, we've had food donations that we've been able to redistribute, but we've also had some older people where cooking has been a huge problem, and so we've been able to provide free meals on wheels for the period of that they're isolating, and that's made a huge difference, because the meals are cooked here, they're delivered by a volunteer. That means you get to see someone as well.
Absolutely.
Having a hot meal. So the grant, the grant's enabled us to do that. We've provided fridges, microwaves. We've had a couple of people with washing machine breakdowns, and
we've got you frozen again, Claire. I'm just going to see if I can
actually just buying a new washing machine. Somebody was out. Oh no, I've got a signal. Oh. Is that okay?
That's better. Yeah,
I'm on the move again. Okay. So yeah, things like we had a request for a washing machine. Actually, because of the tier system we were in, somebody was able to pop out, and actually it was a blocked filter. So it got sorted out, and that means that the money is still available for that family, perhaps for something else. So the aim is to try and help resolve lots of issues. We've replaced stolen items, hearing aids, medication cards, school clothing, school trainers come back. The number of children that's had sort of grown considerably over the Christmas holiday, and then parents realised that they didn't have school uniform to fit. We've been able to help out where someone couldn't get to the vaccine centre, so we were able to help out with transport, data, utilities. Done quite a lot of utilities, just putting some money on the key or the card just to get through next month. Mobile phones, and even a bed. Oh, and actually one of the ones that was recent I think is really kind of important is someone's housing sadly became untenable and they needed to move. So we provided the moving van, which meant they could take all their possessions with them. So it didn't solve the housing issue. What it did do was actually ensure that, they could take everything with them to their new accommodation. So that sort of thing.
Well, that's really good to hear, because then it shows that it's not just, it's obviously food, but there's a whole array of ways in which the Welfare Fund can help local residents. And just to say, how does, and also actually just to reiterate as well, the fact that it does allow people to have that breathing space, which I think is so important, whether it be, a few weeks or another month, because they can then pay off a little bill perhaps, or a phone bill or something like that, which is always really helpful. And also I think it's really important as well. I like the fact that you mentioned that there was a lady who, she had her car, she had her phone, and you wouldn't think, looking at her, potentially that she had these problems, but there are so many of us out there that are suffering as a result of what's happened over the past year. And so it's always just not knowing, so that knowing now that there is that help out there is great. And so how can people get involved? How can people either donate? Well, for us, for this particular, for our fest, it's great, because what we've done,
it was brilliant.
Thank you. And we really wanted to be able to support you. So what we've done is we've got the Just Giving link, and we will be featuring that on all our platforms, and also through our YouTube channel. So and also via Facebook, so people can log in and donate, and they will be able to do that straight away, and it goes directly to the fund. So that's great to be able to do it. But how can people in general, they'll go to the Just Giving page, or and also if people want to benefit from the Welfare Fund, do they contact you, Claire, or do they call the Westway Centre?
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, the whole application process hopefully is as kind of light touch as we can make it. So you can apply on behalf of yourself, but you can equally apply on behalf of a family member. Someone else can apply on your behalf if you're happy for them to do so. So we do a lot with counsellors, with the housing teams, with Salvation Army. And literally, there's 2 questions on the form. It's how is COVID affecting you and your family, and what do you need help with? And at that point, we have a really great panel of people who review each application. So we do, you know, obviously, that actually I've worded that really badly because it's ignore that bit. So yeah, it's a very simple application form. Couple of questions. You can do it over the phone with us. You can fill it in and post it to us. You can do it by email, whatever you want to do. Then we have a panel of people who just get to see those 2 questions, not your name and address or anything like that. And they'll have a look at it. They'll check that it meets with the scheme's eligibility criteria. And then literally they send me an email back saying, yes, this is fine, or could you ask this question? And in the main, often they'll come back and say, oh, has this person heard of ... this fund or whatever as well. So often we'll be able to get a little bit more information from the people who are on the panel, because they are not Westway people. They're from the wider community, from sort of healthcare and other community bodies. If everybody's online when I send the application out, the quickest we've ever turned around one was about 15 minutes. Oh, wow. And the money was in someone's bank account probably about half an hour later. But we do aim to do it within a 24-hour period, because bearing in mind some of the things people are asking for, food, gas and electric, they're actually really time critical. We don't want to be sort of still sitting on a referral you know, sort of a week later. So yes, the process very straightforward. All we ask is that the person who's going to receive the money at the end is happy that someone's nominated them, because that's really important. You know, in a world where there's not a lot of control at the moment, saying what you do and don't want to happen in your life is really important. Yeah, absolutely. And just to reiterate as well that it all anonymously done when the selection process happens, or when when the forms are gone. That's exactly it. And that's because actually, you know, it shouldn't be who you know or whatever. It's got absolutely to be so in fact I probably end up as the only person that actually knows, right, other than whoever referred, and I don't vote, so it's good. Right. No, that's lovely to hear. It's lovely to hear all about it, and the fact that, you know, it is there for our local residents, and you do probably get a lot of people that contact from the local area. So whether it be, and just to say that you do, it's available to those within Caterham, Children and surrounding areas. Is there a limit to the areas that you'll go to, or your application? We kind of, what I'd say is it's always worth contacting us, because you know, it's local people donating the money, so in the main we have been working very, very locally, but you know, we'd consider any application at all. At this point, you know, lives are really complicated, but at the moment it has been the areas sort of you've mentioned. Yes. Okay. Lovely. Well, no, that's great. Thank you, Claire, and thank you for talking to us. No, it's okay. And we hope that we can raise some money for you this weekend as well, during the fest. No, absolutely brilliant. I really, really appreciate it. I think it's it's brilliant, and I hope anybody that's given money in whatever way they've done it at the moment, I really hope that, you know, that they. No, I need to think about what I was saying. That they can benefit from it, I guess. I suppose it's that thing that if you've given money, thank you, because the people at the other end are never going to get the chance to say thank you. And that's the other thing. A lot of the people that we've provided an item to or an amount of money have very often come back and with offers of volunteering, that, you know, there's very much this idea of this is great, but how can I help as well? So yeah, people are really, really grateful to know that somebody out there is thinking about them. Yeah, brilliant. And you know, I just hope that you know, we come out of the other side of this and you know, yeah, again, just ignore that bit. I suppose it's that feeling, isn't it? It's like, how long are we going to have to carry on doing this?
I know.
But yeah, no, I'll try and be more positive and upbeat.
I know.
Sorry.
It's hard. No, it is, and it's been a long time as well, hasn't it, for all of us? This third lockdown has seen so much more difficult for many people, and whether it be the weather or whether it just be circumstances have got worse and worse and worse, and that's one of the reasons that we just feel the team here at the Caterham District Independent as well just wanted to be able to do something for the community. You know, it's very, very difficult for people out there, and some of us as well. You know, we know what it's like. So yes, anything. Exactly. Yeah, so and we'll always be able to, you know, anything that you think of that you'd like us to be able to help with, please do let us know. So yeah, and I think people, you know, anybody who is sort of watching this or listening to it or taking part in the festival, you know, if you need help, then give us a shout. I mean, I just think there's a whole bunch of people, volunteers at the Westway that really would like, you know, to give you a hand, and so don't hesitate. And you have so many different aspects and areas that you can provide help with, like we've obviously, you know, not just on the financial side, but you know, with all the workshops and the classes, and also just with things like hot meals, you know, and simply just seeing someone from your kitchen window and being able to wave at them if you've been isolating. You know, it's just simple things like that. So I completely understand.
Yeah, and also I think the other thing it's important for me to say is that the Westway isn't about old people. It is about the community, people of all ages, families. As part of one of the welfare ones that kind of makes me smile was, you know, we bought baby stuff and things like that, where, you know, that was a family that perhaps we wouldn't have met 2 years ago. So it's been lovely to be in touch with so many people.
Brilliant. No, that's lovely. Thank you. Thank you for your time, Claire.
That's all right.
For joining us. So that's Claire. We've been talking to Claire, who's the manager of the Westway Centre in Caterham on the Hill, about the Community Support Hardship Fund that they are offering to the local community. So thank you very much, and we will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Brilliant. Thank you.